come a long way with bowel, haven't we? Once upon a time, we had more primitive measures to deal with bowels and bowel preparation. We had the soap and water enema. And the soap and water enema worked beautifully. It was a little bit cumbersome. We had the receptacle, we had the rubber tubing, we had a bit of a catheter, we had the warm water, just the right temperature. We had the soft soap, not too many bubbles. And it worked a treat. Took a bit of preparing. And then, of course, one step up from that was the bowel washout. That was more your bucket situation. It was more a hose situation. It was cumbersome, and it was bringing in the big guns, really, for want of a better expression. So it was sort of in and out, and in and out, waiting for a clean return. And that was fine, and it worked well. But of course, these days, we've progressed to things like the microlax enema. Just a little, cute little thing, really. Suppositories, of course, and lots of lovely tablets and mixtures and that kind of thing. I sort of feel, with regard to preparation prior to colonoscopies, and I know a workmate of mine has just endured, I don't like to say endured, but I've had one and I will, endured a colonoscopy. And we need, well, it's a little bit like Thomas the Tank Engine. He's going through the tunnel. There's rocks and boulders and there's just, you know, he's got to make his way through. He's chuff, 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 chuff. He's got his big headlights on and can't see a thing. There's been some sort of a landslide, some sort of a... So you've got to blast those rocks, you've got to get them out the way. I'm putting this as delicately as I can. And in order to do that, we need to prepare. And so we have Fleet, we have Pico Prep, which is my all-time favourite because that's the one they gave me. And they work a treat, but they're a little bit nasty. And because I had to endure the Pico Prep, and because I've had a few issues and I had a colonoscopy, then I was inspired to write this little piece with that in mind. And it was pretty much the day that I was taking the Pico Prep, I think, that I wrote this poem. And it made me feel a little bit better because I got it off my chest. It's called On and Off and On and Off Again. I thought it might be good to get proactive. I thought I should get all my parts checked out. So I made myself a deal. It was time that I got real, to relieve my mind of any nagging doubt. Everyone was friendly at the office, loading me with all the information. This should be a breeze. I began to feel at ease, sorting out my life of constipation. The lady at the pharmacy was helpful. She told me that the powder tasted bad, so I thanked her for the warning. I would start it in the morning. My enthusiasm seemed to make her glad. I'd started fasting, and I was feeling peckish. Perhaps a hearty drink would do the trick. But I couldn't stand the taste. It kind of looked like nuclear waste, and every putrid mouthful made me sick. Nonetheless, I seemed to cope superbly. The first hour passed, and then one turned to two. But then my peace was shattered, and the porcelain was splattered, as my very new best friend became the loo. On and off and on and off again. And still I had 2 sachets to endure. By the time this job was finished, my core strength would be diminished, but my colon would be pretty close to pure. I had to drink clear fluids by the hour while watching everyone around me eating. The griping pains were strong and my toilet times were long while my anal sphincter really took a beating. Waterfalls and mudslides leapt before me, and visions of Niagara kept appearing. No bowel could be more clean. In fact, I'm sure mine was pristine, as every nook and cranny I was clearing. A sense of calm fell gradually upon me, with finally all beverages completed. My eyeballs had been popping, and my pelvic floor was dropping, while my stamina was very much depleted. I hoped that this procedure would be worth it, as I hovered not too far from any dunny. Some thought that it was fun to see how quickly I could run, but I don't think it was the least bit funny. So even though the prep's a bit severe, and in actual fact that drink should be forbidden, it's worth it in the end, because your colon is your friend, and we cannot always keep our bottoms hidden.